Welcome, welcome, Solara here. I hope you guys are doing well today. I am here to do an energy report, energy reading, utilizing the power of tarot astrology. So for those of you who are new here in these parts, tarot astrology is the art of looking at a chart, whether it be collective energy like we're about to do, or even your own personal birth chart, and reading the energies in accordance with how they align with the tarot. So in the major arcana of the tarot, you have all the cards align with a specific zodiac sign, and some of them align with just a planet, and some of them align with both. And then in the minor arcana, every single numbered card outside of the aces, so numbers 2 to 10, all align with a certain sign and a certain 10 degrees of that sign. So for example, 0 to 10 degrees Aries is the Two of Wands. And so I break down the energies of what we're going through in accordance with the astrology as seen through the lens of the tarot. We throw a little bit of numerology in there for good measure, and some channeled messages also. So I want to welcome you here. If you're here for the first time, welcome. If you're returning, thank you so much to you guys for all of your love and support. Welcome if you're coming over from my channel, Solara Speaks. Yes, we're going to get into it. I'm going to pull up a chart for Sunday morning, because I don't know about y'all, but I'm done with these Cancer energies, okay? Welcome Leo season, and not just because I'm a Leo, but because after Gemini and Cancer season, we need a little bit of a break. And that new moon in Cancer was something else entirely. So excuse the sudden fluorescent lighting, but it is what it is. So I have the chart, and I'm going to take a look at it. So I have the chart at London time, 5:40 in the morning London time, okay? Because that is approximately the time where it's probably the sun is probably entering Leo at about, 5 a.m. British Standard Time, give or take a few minutes. So that's the chart I'm looking at. So I'm looking at the chart from 0 degrees Leo. Okay, so before we even begin to break down the chart from the sun and the moon, I do want to talk about the fact that on the 22nd, on the day I'm filming, the 22nd of July, Venus has now stationed to go retrograde. And she is retrograding through Leo until, I think she stations to go direct sometime in September, I want to say. And then she moves out of Leo and into Virgo, I want to say, on October the 8th. Don't mark my words as being absolutely 100% correct, but I do believe that is how she's traveling right now. And why is this so important? Well, first and foremost, when I look at a energy, like I said, I break it down numerologically speaking. And so Venus has chosen to station to go retrograde on the 22nd of July. And regardless as to where you are in the world, whether you're here in the UK and we do 227, or whether you're in America and you do 722, it's all the same. So here in the UK, that would break down to 22, the 7 because of July, and then we have another 7 because it's the year. So these numbers, 2277, or if you're in America, it would be on either side, 7227. But it doesn't, either way you see it, it doesn't negate from the power of those numbers coming together. So what do I mean by that? Well, 7 is a number of divine completion. And 2 is the number of duality and also partnerships. And as we make our way out of Cancer season, and Cancer energy is connected to the number 7 too. The Chariot is the number 7 card in the tarot. It's interesting that Venus is choosing to station to go direct while we are in that final degree of Cancer. She is stationed to go direct while the sun is at 29 degrees Cancer. Okay, which is Just so you know, it is a degree, astrologically 29 is a degree of Leo. So either way, we've got a lot of this Leo energy underpinning even before the sun enters into Leo. And then of course we have Mercury in Leo, we have Venus now retrograding through Leo, we had Mars in Leo, and we still have Lilith in Leo. So this Leo energy is very big. And why is this Leo energy so big? Well, because the Leo energy is what facilitates our ability to rise again. It's what helps us to actually take the fullness of the healing of our mind and our emotional fields to access the truth of our hearts. And when we're able to access the truth of our hearts, which ultimately requires for the inner union and the marriage of duality, hence the 2-2, then we are able to access our stargates. Okay, so this 2-2-7-7 energy we have going today or yesterday, depending on when you're watching this, or the 22nd, depending on when you're watching this. This 2-2-7-7 energy is indicating that something is coming into divine completion to prepare for something else. And what is it preparation for? Well, it's the preparation for some kind of union, for dualities to become one as we move out of the sign of Cancer, which is connected to the Chariot. And what is the Chariot? The Chariot, if you want to break it down numerologically, because it is the number 7, you could also see it as a 3 and a 4. That's one way you can break it down. And the 3 and the 4 in the tarot would be the Empress and the Emperor. Again, it would be the joining of masculine and feminine energies, or masculine and feminine principles. Or, if you don't want to look at it that way, even in the Chariot card, the Chariot is being pulled forward by 2 sphinxes, a dark sphinx and a light sphinx, and that is speaking about the necessity of moving the light body forward by the working together of darkness and light. So when I say darkness and light, I'm speaking about your own reclaimed shadow and your divine light must come together in order to pull you forward into the truth of your heart. So what does that mean? People who are still repressing the truth of their shadow energies and who they really are, you know, in terms of those things they don't want to really face about themselves, or the places they don't really want to go, when people are still in any form of denial, when we're holding on to, any kind of resentment, bitterness, unforgiveness, all of that stuff acts as a heart chakra block, and it acts as a repulsion of our own shadow, a repression, a rejection of our own shadow energy, which is ultimately, because your shadow belongs to you, it's a rejection of self. And anytime you reject self, there is a schism within your energy field, and that schism in your energy field means that you can't move forward. So the sphinxes must be in alignment and moving forward in unity, meaning that we must have made peace now with both our darkness and our light. And indeed, the energy of this past week since the new moon has really been challenging us to go deeper even with our shadow energies, with our shadow selves, because I don't care how like anointed and appointed and how many years you've been healing and ascending, there's still always going to be something that needs to be dealt with to get to the next level. And so this week, a lot of us have been being challenged to go very deep. And indeed, Cancer season has been all about going into the depths of the waters of our soul. Cancer is ruled by the moon. The moon gives us the ability to explore the depths of our own cellular truth. Within your cellular waters, your intracellular, intercellular fluids, your blood, resides your DNA, but it's not purely a physical thing. On a spiritual level, because everything in the physical has a spiritual component. On a spiritual level, your DNA, your blood, your intercellular and intracellular fluids hold the entirety of the history and recollection of every single lifetime that you have graced your consciousness on this earth plane. So your Akashic records are literally in your blood. They're in your DNA. They're in your your intracellular fluids. And that is why we are so affected by the moon, especially like when the moon is moving into her full phase and she's pulling those waters up. Just as she pulls the waters up on the earth, she pulls the waters up in us. And we have the opportunity, this is why we speak about the moon, the full moon, bringing illumination to that which has been hidden in secret. It's because literally there's a drawing of the waters up where we're able to access information that has been embedded in deep in our subconscious, because the moon has literally stirred our waters and made it possible for us to access. Hence the reason why, psychic abilities tend to heighten around the full moon. It's even why, like, women, when they are menstruating, they are especially psychic. It's the moving of the fluids, but we won't get into all of that right now. Now, I say all of that because we have just come through the sign that is ruled by the moon. We've had a month of our waters being moved, right? We've had a month of the moon moving our waters symbolically through the sign of Cancer in order for us to get to the bottom of some very important emotional truths so that we can reprogram our waters emotionally, so we can be ready to open our hearts in Leo season on grander levels and therefore align with the truth of who we are divinely, and to recover back our multidimensional gifts and our divine resources. And I invite you, if you haven't yet watched any of the previous videos, if you want to know more about what Cancer season was really about, I invite you to watch my new moon in Cancer and my full moon in Capricorn video on this channel, where I go into depth about what it's meant for us as we break out of the matrix. And even as we go into Leo season, it's still important for you to get these lessons. In fact, I would even go back to the videos from Gemini season, because the Leo season is a grand culmination of what Gemini and Cancer season have been working in our souls. And that is that Gemini season came and it challenged us. It challenged our psyche. It challenged our mindset. It challenged our belief system. It challenged us to see if we really believed who we said we were in Taurus season. So Taurus energy is all about knowing your value, receiving your divine value. And then Gemini season, it's aligning your mind with it. And anytime you have to align yourself with a higher energy, or like a higher way of thinking or a higher way of feeling, anytime you have to come up in vibration, you will always be challenged by those very energies that kept you from accessing that before. So come Taurus season, we aligned higher with the truth of who we are in terms of our true divine value. Not what the matrix says you are, not who your mama and your father say you are, not who your friend says, not who Pookie down the road says you are, but who the divine says you are in accordance with your Aries energy, which is your I am truth. It is your crown of glory. So you're given your crown of glory, which is your Aries energy. You're given your value through the Taurus energy in terms of who you are and your value here on the earth planes, but not only on the earth planes, but cosmologically, and how that's to be expressed here on the earth planes. You're kind of shared that through the Taurus energy, and then through the Gemini energy, it's time to receive the instructions for how to align your mind and your mental fields with it so you can take it out into the world. So because we are ascending very rapidly, please understand and overstand that these, as we cycle through the zodiac every single year, we're getting the opportunity to ascend. And we always have, because Earth has always been a school for our souls. Right? But because we are at the end of an age, the turn of an age, and because so many of us are here to facilitate the seeding of a brand new earth, it is time for us to wake up rapidly. And so what would normally, take, I don't know, years, and sometimes for some people it would take lifetimes, we are going through really rapidly right now. Okay, so Gemini season was about us connecting with our Christed mind, okay? So the mindset we need about ourselves in order to align with the truth of who we are divinely. And then Cancer season came to help us to align our new mindset with our emotional truth. Because as I explain very often, but I'm not going to stop explaining it because it's so important for us to understand and overstand, the way you are a bridge between heaven and earth. You are God expressed in physical form here on the earth planes. And the way that occurs is that in order for something in spirit to become material, as above, so below, on earth, as it is in the heavens, it must come through you. You are the bridge. So it must come through the mental and the emotional planes. It must come through your mind, right? That's the first energy it hits. You must start to think about it. You must start to be communicated. That's mental energy, to hear the message, to think about it, to ruminate on it. And then whatever emotional energy you attach to those thoughts, if that emotional energy has a lot of charge, that is what brings that into material reality. It's what brings the spiritual. What's the spiritual reality? It's what drags it into material form, because emotional energy, as I like to say, is like a turbine. So the truth of what is in spirit, and it doesn't even have to be the truth, because sometimes we be manifesting shit from the spirit realm that other people have attached us to, but that's another story. Okay? The reality is that whatever you align your thoughts with spiritually, and then you add intense emotional energy to, or emotional energy with a heavy charge, is what births your material reality. And mental energy is air, emotional energy is water. So we are literally always birthing material truth through the waters, always. And you can look at it that way, or you can look at it in any way. Everything comes through the waters. Water is life. It's what provides life. So this is the significance of Cancer season. Cancer season was all about reprogramming and retuning our waters to now align, or our emotional truth, our emotional fields, to now align with our new Christed mindset that hopefully has grabbed a hold of the divine value that we learned about ourselves in Taurus season, based upon the fact that we're finally ready to connect with our Aries energy, which is our I am truth. We're done with the matrix shit. We're done with the shenanigans. We're done with taking on their false identities. We're taking back our crowns. That's what the Aries energy is. And even with the switch this week of the nodes, this is what it's about. It's about us taking back our crowns. It's about taking back our ability to be liberated and to be our God selves, and to express our God consciousness in human form, and to bring the justice for all the ways that has been held from us with the Libra in the South Node. So I say all of that because now that we have gotten our Christed mind, and we have allowed our waters now to align with this Christed truth through Gemini and Cancer. Now Leo season gives us the ability to connect with a new heart. Okay? The Bible talks about this a lot, about the importance of being transformed by renewing our minds. But it also talks about us having a new heart. And why is that important? Because the Chariot, which is the Cancer energy, is what literally allows us to go forward with our light bodies. It's what allows us to access what we call the Merkaba. And the Merkaba is your interdimensional light ship that lets you connect with who you are on a multidimensional level, and it allows you to pull into the earth planes everything you need from other alternative cosmological realities. It allows you to be truly to be a bridge. It allows you to be a bridge based upon the fact that you are sovereign and you are directing your energy, as opposed to having your energy field be used by external forces to manifest their reality through you in order to keep this false mother matrix system alive. So much is happening through this Gemini Cancer energy to make way for Leo season. So as I record this, like I said, the sun is at 29 degrees Cancer, but I am going to look more at the Leo energy, what we're entering into, okay? Because we are leaving with the 29-degree Cancer. We are leaving the Four of Cups. And what is the Four of Cups energy? The Four of Cups energy is that throughout Cancer season, we've been shown things that make us happy. We've been shown things that we need to adjust. We've been shown in many ways, and this is how my guides have really been highlighting it to me, especially in the past week to 10 days. We've really been being shown how to get sovereignty back over our nervous systems, how to get back the ability to regulate our nervous systems, and to only put ourselves in situations and be around people that nurture the full regulation of our nervous systems. And why is that so important? Well, because Cancer energy is very much connected to our attachment styles also. And we've been given an opportunity through Cancer season to take a look at our attachment styles and to begin to heal them. And this is so important because your attachment style is how you learn from the time you enter into this earth plane. Your attachment style is what you mimic every time you need to recover from something painful. Every time you need to regulate and balance your own emotions, it's going to be based upon what you learned was right in terms of attachment styles. And your attachment style, again, comes through your relationship specifically with your mother in the beginning. And it goes beyond just like after she's given birth to you, and whether she nurses you or whether she nurtures you, or, you know, skin to skin. All of that stuff is so important. You know, like the Matrix did some really fucked up things when it came to motherhood, including, you know, all of that, making children cry it out and putting them in I won't get into it, but I will say that a lot of the tips that they give us in terms of being good mothers is actually about creating trauma for babies so that their attachment styles are fucked up. Because if you have a fucked up attachment style, then you are more likely to seek comfort in areas where that are really ultimately dysfunctional and discordant. And that's important for the Matrix, because the Matrix is able to stay alive off of our dysfunction, off of our lack of self-satisfaction, and off of our addictions. Because our comfort styles, what we choose to comfort ourselves with based upon poor attachment, is often something that becomes an addiction. Okay, and when you can get people addicted, you are getting them separate from themselves and separate from God. And you are able to easily manipulate a person who has this attachment to things outside of themselves to make them feel good, as opposed to the stability within that they can turn to. A person who does not need anything or anyone in order to feel whole is a dangerous person in this Matrix system. Dangerous. Because it means that, well, first and foremost, they're going to tell other people how to get out too. But also, it means that you are not a good consumer. And if you are not a good consumer, then, you know, the whole structure of capitalism falls apart. I say that the Matrix is based upon the 3 C's. It's consumerism, capitalism, and commercialism. And none of those things survive with people who are of sound mind and sound heart, who actually value themselves. Those things cannot survive. Right? Because even consumerism, that very word itself tells you we are an energy harvesting system. The Matrix is it tells you consumerism, you know? So I say all of that because now, as we Cancer season, as we close out Cancer season, we are deciding with that Four of Cups, or we have been deciding, especially with this new moon in Cancer and the switch in the nodes, we've been given the opportunity to decide what cups we're going to take. So the Four of Cups in the tarot is the person sitting down, you know, feeling kind of sorry for themselves, and they've got these three cups, and they're being given another cup, and they're like pushing, they're like, I can't be bothered, I don't want the other cup, kind of thing. And what that is supposed to denote is when we get fed up. For one thing, Cancer energy, and I spoke about this, I don't know if I spoke about it here on this channel or on Solaris Speaks, but I'm going to say it again. And I say this with utmost respect for my Cancerians. I love the fuck out of you guys. I have so much Cancer energy in my chart. So when I speak about the Cancerian energy, I speak from a place of knowing it intimately because I've lived it, and it's been one of my greatest teachers. And I also have one of my children, his son is in Cancer. So when I say that Cancer energy has really schooled me, I tell no lies, okay? But the Cancerian energy can be very, the Cancer energy, 2133, the Cancer energy in its unevolved, unhealed state can have the propensity to be a victim and to play victim and to like being a victim. You know, the Cancer energy is that, like, if I don't get my own way, and I'm talking about in an unevolved, unhealed, like shadow energy, if I don't get my own way, I'm going to crawl into my shell and ignore you until I emotionally manipulate you to pay attention to me. That's a Cancer energy, which is never conducive to emotional health, because really what we need to do is we need to not crawl back into a shell, but we need to put things out on the table under the light and talk about shit so that it can be resolved, right? So as such, collectively, this Four of Cups energy, it deals with all of the ways that we are in victim consciousness, or the ways that we victimize ourselves with our own way of dealing with things or not dealing with things, or the ways we've allowed ourselves to be a victim because we don't have enough self-value to rise up and speak up. So this is what the Four of Cups energy has been challenging us to see over the past 10 days or so. Where have we allowed energies into our fields that dysregulate our nervous system? Where do we need to take a look at our own attachment styles and how we are actually our own worst enemies, because we not only engage with these people or behaviors, but we entertain and invite them as ways, because that's how we've learned how to, you know, deal and feel somewhat falsely secure in our own dysregulation, right? So and this is why we've been being pulled through the ringer, because it's like this new moon in Cancer, this final decan of Cancer, it's giving us nowhere to hide anymore. You know, that Cancer energy of being able to hide in your, there's nowhere to hide. You know, there's nowhere to hide the truth of who we are and what we've put up with. And the reason why there's nowhere to hide is because the sun is pelting the planet, and Venus has been going through Leo, and Mars went ahead through Leo, and Mercury's going through Leo, and they're all telling us, they're all exposing to us all the ways we hurt ourselves as children, and all the ways we're living in a world that prospers off of wounded child energy and hurting children. And there's so much fucking Leo energy right now, and that's the sun. So there really is nowhere to hide. The only thing you can do is either take accountability or try to project and deflect. But even that is like failing for many. It's just making them more miserable. Whereas once upon a time, the deflecting and the projecting into other people's fields, it gave them some temporary reprieve and even a boost in their confidence. Because of where we are in the ascension, a lot of beings are no longer taking that shit, because everyone's getting wise and healing now and recognizing, even if they don't know that the matrix is built upon a narcissistic template, they're waking up and they're recognizing and realizing what narcissism is, and they're standing up against it. So as such, those energies have nowhere to go but to return to who it is that is projecting to begin with. And then they got to either drown in their misery or start to take accountability for some of their own shit. And that's all of us. It's just happening at varying degrees. So with that said, that's what the Cancer energy has been doing. And now the sun is entering into the sign that it rules. We're entering into that beautiful masculine energy of Leo, right? And when I say masculine energy, I'm talking about Leo, the beauty of the masculine energy of Leo, because it's very connected to the feminine energy too. But the reason the energy of Leo, I mean, it is masculine, but the beauty of it is that it takes the energy of Cancer, it takes that emotional energy, and it allows us to take action on it now, you know, for better or for worse. So it allows us to take that strong, emotional, lunar energy of Cancer, that very protective, motherly energy, that beautiful, intuitive energy, because Cancer energy is how we actually connect to our psychic gifts and our intuition. It's why it's also connected to our mothers, because it is through our mothers that we are supposed to come alive to that. But they were taught through the matrix system to teach us to turn off our own instinct and our intuitive and psychic gifts, because that's what they were taught to. So in that sense, they're taught, they teach us from an early age how to go against our instinct, how to go against how we feel. And the Cancerian energy does not, in its evolved state, in its mother energy, it doesn't allow for us to not deal with our emotional truth. And our emotional truth also includes our intuition, our psychic gifts, etc. And then Leo energy takes that and it allows us to perform it, to go forth and perform it and shine in the world. And this is partly why the Leo energy is very connected to the inner child, because this is where we learn as children whether or not it's okay to shine. You know, based again upon how we are raised and how much healing our mothers and fathers have done, but especially mothers, because mothers tend to be, not always, but they tend to be the main nurturers in the family, and that's because of the feminine energy. So it can come through, the feminine energy can come through a mother or it can come through a father. The most important thing you need to know is that it's the feminine energy that gives us the ability or the permission to shine, and the masculine energy comes and cheers us on. And that's what the Leo energy is. Leo, I'm not just saying this because I'm a Leo sun, y'all. Leo season, Leo season. I'm not just saying this because I'm a Leo sun, but that Leo energy is really here to help us to shine. And in its like evolved and healed state, it loves to see other people shine. It loves to, it's not even hype you up. It loves to shine the light on your beauty and be like, come on. Bring out the shine, bring out your power, bring out your magic. Let's see, show me what you got kind of energy. That's the Leo energy, okay? So we have the sun entering Leo at 0 degrees. And so the 0 degree mark of Leo, and where we're about to be for the next week, even up until the full moon in Aquarius, will be in the first decan of Leo, from 0 to 10 degrees. It is the 5 of Wands. Suki now, 5 of Wands. Most of y'all, if you know tarot, you know what the 5 of Wands is, right? It's the battles within, it's the battles without. But what you have to know about this also is because it's underpinned by the Strength card and the Sun card. Double Sun, because we're, you know, the Sun. And then the Sun in general, as a celestial being, is represented by the Sun card in the tarot. But Leo is also represented by the Sun and the Strength card, the 8 and the 19 card. Okay, so now this energy of the 5 of Wands, it's dealing with conflict, but what is it connected to? Well, it's connected to that final push we need, the Strength card energy, the push we need, the things we need to push past in order to get to the Sun. And the Sun card, the Sun, the number 19, is all about being not only in divine alignment, but now living in divine alignment. The Sun card, when we enter into the number 19 card of the tarot, the Sun, we are now ready to live fully in our North Node. That's really what it is, you know. So we are ready for the sun to rise so we can live in our North Node. So when you think about the Leo energy and the things that we're about to be battling in order to get to the sun, which again is when we move into the 10 to 20 degree mark of Leo, which is the 6 of Wands, which is like a victory for our soul. It's when we come out and we shine and we're victorious, and it's when the 8-8 portal is for that reason too, partly for that reason. Okay, the 10 to 20 degree mark of Leo energy. But right now we're entering into the 0 to 10 degrees. So what are the struggles that we're going to be fighting? Right? Well, think about the Leo energy. And one shadow aspect of Leo is that Leos can be very prideful. We can be very prideful. We can be, and really what the pride is a cover for fear. It's because we're hurt, or it's because we're scared, or it's because we've been discouraged in some way, and the pride rises up. The Leo energy also, contrary to popular belief, Leos have a lot of self-doubt. And the reason we have a lot of self-doubt is because a lot of the time, our light has been perpetually dimmed as children. And I have a warm spot in my heart for people who have a lot of Leo energy and how it is handled with them as children, because Leo children need a lot of extra reassurance because they have so much. They tend to have so much that they want to give to the world. And if that's not nurtured properly and in balance in a way where they feel like they can, then a lot of the time they'll act out more, because again, Leo rules the heart. So if your heart is hurt, think about it. If your heart is hurt or your heart is broken, is that not worse than, physical pain? So the Leo energy, it gets a lot of flack for, even being narcissistic, which it really can be in its shadow energy, but it is again to do with the regulation of its light and whether it's been supported or not. Because if it's supported correctly, then it shines in really healthy ways that not only uplifts the individual, but works as a light to uplift humanity. It is why we come back to self collectively through the Leo energy. So oftentimes I laugh when people have such big issues with Leo energy, not because I'm a Leo, but because I'm able to see it through the lens of collective energy. And the Leo energy really deals with self and your ability to connect with your heart and the wholeness of who you are. Before we move into Virgo, and Virgo comes and perfects the light, so that when we have our moment, when we move into the 7th house in front of people, everything's in order. Love you, Virgos. I've got a lot of Virgo energy too. So, and my daughter is a Virgo. So again, my main teachers, Cancer and Virgo energy. So this is what we're going to be facing with the 5 of Wands. It's going to be the battles will be without. I'm not going to lie. They always, because in order to deal with the energies that are within, in order to engage with the internal battles, we need to be there needs to be a catalyst. There needs to be an activation. And so oftentimes the activation or the catalyst must come from outside of ourselves. So as such, this is the energy of people throwing shade. You get what I'm saying? People, energies where that are going to cause you to question your royalty and your regality, cause you to question who you are, cause you to try to descend out of your place of shine, cause you to hold on to a heart wound. That's another thing, because now we're in Leo season. It's time to shine, and it's time to open our hearts to the highest level possible in order to take us forward and help us to connect with our highest timeline. That's the point. So when you have this 5 of Wands energy, this is battles, but also I want to point out that the 5s in the tarot are connected to the Hierophant. So the fives are always energies of instability because they're bringing such strong change. They're graduation energies. And even when you think of the number 5 in terms of sacred geometry and how things come into being, by the time something reaches that energy of 5, it's because the energy has already been birthed through 3. It's been established that the energy is going to go forth through 4. And the 5 is now the adjustments that must happen in order for the energy to come into full fruition. So in other words, and this is where the Leo energy, the 5 is, it's the 5th house. It's where the changes begin to be implemented. Because when you, for example, decide that you want, again, I spoke about this not long ago, when you decide you want something higher for yourself, you must deal with all of the energies that have stopped you from getting there before, within and without. And this is what the 5 of Wands energy is really about. And this is what the 5 denotes. The 5 denotes the changes that must now be implemented. And sometimes it's on a physical level because the energy's already been established that it's going to go forward. These are the changes that must now be implemented in order to bring the energy fully into fruition. So in other words, in order to bring forth the fullness of who you are divinely, now that your mind is aligned, now that you've done the hard work of clearing your waters of the crap that doesn't facilitate the new Christed mind, the Leo energy is here to help you to birth that. But now you must change your heart. Now you must change your heart. Your heart is energetically, you are an electromagnetic being, and it's your heart that's the projector of all that you are. And therefore, it puts out into the world who you are, and in accordance with what you put out is what you call back, which is why in the Matrix system, they did everything to fuck with your energy field, to keep you in trauma and split states so that you were constantly projecting that truth. It was the truth of your energy field, even if you weren't conscious of it, the truth of your energy field out into the world and calling back shit that you didn't want and you couldn't figure out why. And not only could you not figure out why, but then you started to be down on yourself like it was you. And it wasn't. It was just what your energy field had been programmed into. You'd been programmed out of your divine truth, and you'd been programmed into a matrix false identity in order to serve the purpose of keeping it alive at the detriment of who you truly are and your real value. Okay, so we're 42 minutes in. Let me keep going. So to assist this, we do have the moon, as when the sun is in 0 degrees Leo, we have the moon in the final degree of Virgo, 29 degrees Virgo, which is very interesting because, again, we have another 29 degree energy, which is a Leo energy. This is how much illumination is wanting to come through. And the Virgo energy, of course, is the Hermit. The Hermit in the Tarot in the 29 degrees is the 10 of Pentacles. So this is really speaking to me about preparing us. Well, not only preparing us, it's helping us to let go of dark legacy. That's really what I'm getting. The moon, as it's been moving from the 20 to the 29 degree mark of Virgo, it's been helping us to rid ourselves of dark legacies. And when I say dark legacies, I'm talking about all of those things that have repeated throughout timelines that have kept us stuck in trauma. And oftentimes those things are ancestral or family related. And even in the past, I want to say 2 days, I felt very strongly the presence of the Divine Mother, but I felt the dark feminine energies. I felt and when I say the dark feminine energies, I'm talking about those energies of the feminine that invite us. Well, no, they don't just invite us. They I don't want to say, let me find the word I want. They encourage us, and sometimes quite forcefully, to connect with our wildness, with our truth, with our instinct. The dark feminine energy is where we must go in order to rebirth ourselves. It is the chaos. It is the void. It is a place where we must go to within ourselves, the hermit energy, in order to stop avoiding our truth. And anytime we're avoiding our truth, we are choosing to not ever enter the void. And when we don't enter the void, which is a place of chaos, where all things must be birthed, the darkness in the beginning through which all things must be birthed, when we don't allow ourselves to go there, and we only get there by way of facing ourselves in order to be reborn. And this is why the Virgo energy is very connected to Scorpio, by the way, they have the same glyph. I have a good friend who pointed that out to me like a year ago, and I was just like, wow, that makes sense, because the Virgo and the Scorpio energy work in tandem. They all work together, but they work intimately for this reason. Because the Virgo energy is how we must enter into self, the hermit. You know, with the lamp, we must enter into self and go in and voluntarily go into the darkness and into the void in order to be rebirthed through the Scorpionic energy. It is the entryway of the Dark Mother, is through Virgo also. And again, when I say the Dark Mother and the Dark Feminine, I'm talking about the beginning of all creation, which is darkness, chaos. Nothing is formed. Nothing can come into substance. Or I should say everything comes into form and everything comes into substance out of the void, out of the chaos. The order comes from the chaos. And the Dark Feminine, Dark Mother energy is that chaos. And so the moon energy right now, as we move out of Cancer, we're entering into Leo in this final decan of Virgo. It is inviting us to be ready to be rebirthed through the Scorpio energy, which will be coming up. Let me think, Virgo, Leo, Libra. It probably is going to be coming up in the next 6 days or so. I want to say, the next couple of days. No, it'll probably be in like the next 4 days. Or 2 days. What am I talking about? We're at the end of Virgo, so we just got to go through Libra. So it's coming out in the next like 2.5 days. The moon will be in Scorpio. And that's going to be helping us to rebirth ourselves. Rebirth this new reality. And the Five of Wands, Leo energy, is bringing the chaotic factor also. The conflict that we need to help enlighten to us the areas where we need to stand up for ourselves within, and also, any energies that are coming without. But that's what I'm really getting right now with that 29 degrees, that moon. So again, this is all about bringing justice to ourselves as the moon enters into Libra later on Sunday too. And it will be the first time the moon is in Libra since the node switched with the North Node in Aries and the South Node in Libra. So that probably is going to have some significance too in how we recalibrate ourselves for this next cycle. Okay, so now moving into Mercury, 21 degrees Leo. So 21 degrees Leo means Mercury has just exited. Cards are going crazy. It's just exited the Six of Wands and has entered into the Seven of Wands. And Mercury is how spirit communicates to us, gives us divine instructions for how we are to move forward individually with our Mercury energies and collectively through the collective Mercury energies. And now Mercury is moving into the Seven of Wands. So this again, both the Five and the Seven of Wands are both the decans that bookend the victory, which is right in the center of Leo. So we've got the Sun at 5 of Wands, and we've got the Mercury at 7 of Wands, and we've got Venus at 7 of Wands too. And the 7 of Wands is all about protecting the victory. So Mercury is going ahead, and it's speaking to us about the victory that has already been won. It's almost like it's speaking to us about our what we would call our future selves, because we live in accordance with time in this matrix, right? It's almost like it's talking about, it's giving us a talk of how to get to the future self, the victorious self. Mercury is walking us through the valley of the shadow of death. Like, while we cannot see through the darkness, Mercury is shining the light and telling us how to get there, if that makes sense. And even when I was out and about today and I was thinking about coming home and doing this tarot astrology reading, there was a scripture that kept on coming into my resonance, and that is, I think it's in Hebrews. I'm pretty sure it's in Hebrews. I should have looked it up before I came on here, but it is a very famous scripture. I'm sure most of you know it. It goes, faith is the substance of things hoped for, and the evidence of things not yet seen. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, and the evidence of things not yet seen. And my guides were telling me, pay attention to that word substance, because it means that faith isn't just holding on to something that isn't real. Faith is holding on to something that has not come into reality from the spirit, but you have seen it to be real and possible. And it can be substantiated for as long as you hold on to that energy. And it's almost like Mercury is here to help us with the faith we need to get through this first part of Leo season, which, if I'm going to be completely frank, by the energies that were being shown, it might be a little bit challenging. It might rock us a little bit because it is recalibrating us into the fullness of our power and our truth and our shine for as long as we let it. Yes? So we've got Venus also supporting us in the Seven of Wands, but now Venus is stationed to go retrograde. It's stationed to give us a review. And what does this mean? Well, Venus is about to do one hell of a job on all of us, because Venus is really connected with our value, how we express our value, and how we live our value, and how we connect to beauty and pleasure by way of how we live our value in an earthly way, right? So because Venus has been moving through Leo, it has really been talking to us about all of the ways we've lost our value through our wounded inner child, and helping us to be a champion for our inner child again. And now, because Venus has stationed to go retrograde right when the sun is 29 degrees Cancer, and then she's about to go retrograde through Leo as the sun is entering through Leo. That's a very important thing to consider, because she is stationed to retrograde on the Four of Cups energy of Cancer. And she is going into Virgo, I believe, in the second decan of Virgo, which is the Four of Swords. So what I'm getting from this is that Venus is here to show us all of the ways we fucked ourselves over by refusing cups that actually were for us. But because we weren't in alignment with our own sense of value, we pushed them away and accepted cups that we should have never accepted. And as such, Venus is coming to cause us once again to take a look at our own value as it has been established and defined by way of our childhood experiences. And I want to apologize already if the tracking just fucked itself up. I'm not stopping the video though. It's been doing that from time to time this week, and I'm not going to quit. So anyway, Venus is showing us where we need to still let go of things, let go of people, let go of situations, but most importantly, it's showing us where we have to surrender those behaviors and those patterns that have tuned our emotional waters, the Cancer, that have tuned our emotional waters out of balance and out of the truth of our heart's truth. Ultimately, what has blocked us from living the most beautiful, pleasurable existence that is possible for us on this earth plane. Because the truth is that you didn't come here to suffer. You came here to enjoy and to learn. You don't have to, none of us have to learn by way of suffering. The only reason we've had to learn by way of suffering is because of the way the matrix system was set up to keep us stuck in karmic cycles. But we are also able to learn dharmically And Venus is here trying to help us to get back to that place and trying to raise our value so that from henceforth we no longer are going to be accepting cups that are laced with poison while thinking that, you know, they are the bee's knees, or thinking that that's what we deserve. Okay? So Mars is at 7 degrees. Mars is still going through Virgo. It's at the first decan of Virgo. Mars is the tower energy. It goes into fight and also to demolish what needs to be moved out of the way in order for us to rise into our feminine beauty. It assists the Venusian energy when it's working in its empowered state, and when we allow it to work in ways that are empowering to us, it helps to fight for the right for our feminine energy, for us to feel safe in being who we are and expressing who we are, and connecting with our pleasure and our ability to express that and live in beautiful ways. That's what the Mars energy goes ahead and fights for. So it's in Virgo right now. It's in the 8 of Pentacles, so it's hard at work coming up with strategies. It's strategizing. Virgos are wonderful for strategizing, right? Strategizing ways to, strategizing and organizing in order to bring some of these structures into material reality. That's what the Mars energy is going forward and doing. So the fight now is to change. In other words, the fight now is to, the Venus is showing us, or has been showing us, where we need to reconnect with the pleasure and the beauty that should have always been ours by divine birthright. And the Mars energy is helping us now to make the changes within our own day-to-day routines, our day-to-day thinking, in order that we can bring that into physical real time. Yes? I'm not going to go too much into the other ones because I've been talking so much, and I'm going to be really fucked off if the tracking on this has done what it does. But I will say that Jupiter is in Taurus. So Jupiter energy is all about helping us to connect with the faith that we need in order to expand the consciousness, expand our consciousness enough to connect to truth, to real reality, not matrix reality, which is an inversion of truth. The matrix is designed at every level to cap you and to keep you from accessing the fullness of truth, which is the wholeness of cosmological reality. The matrix does everything it can to tune you out and to limit you through constant traumatizing that stops you from being able to connect with source and connect with who you are. And Jupiter does the opposite. Jupiter comes, that's why it works through philosophy. It works through even law and order. It works through universal law. It works to help connect us. This video is doing this thing again. It works to help